Yeah, so our next speaker is somebody I've known for a while now, and really always admire. She led the sort of like a lot of the agile transformation stuff that was happening at Standard Bank. To some extent, became the gold standard in Africa. I can't tell you that it was the gold standard, but I believe that and it definitely was a lot of really good stuff. She's since moved on to Absa, so definitely sticking in the banking industry, where she's now the Chief Digital Officer. And so I'd like to welcome Thabiso and Njongwe.
How do I transition this? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I'm very passionate about this topic of the intersection between agility and digital transformation. I'm a product of disruption. You'll understand later what I mean by that. So I will tell a story that will underscore some of the points I want to make. In my previous life, I led a agile transformation. And when this organization decided to embark on a digital transformation, it created a program. So it was to be a program. I thought to myself, this doesn't look so right, because we can use agility as a catalyst for transformation. But then I realized is that in order to build the agility capability, you actually have to transform. So you need to transform, for example, your technology stack. You need to modernize. You need to detangle the entanglement of your processes and your entangled tech stack to expose your capabilities such that they are consumed easily through APIs. So then you find yourself in this situation where you have agility that requires transformation. To build that agility capability requires transformation. But at the same time, this digital transformation requires agility in order to accelerate it. So this is the intersection in this convergence that I want to talk about today. First, just to talk about just the definitions. Agile transformation is to enable organization to rapidly adapt to market and environmental changes in very productive and effective ways. The stats from Forbes, 47% of agile transformations fail. But a recent stat I read was that 96% of agile transformations do not actually enable or build that capacity for rapid adaptation that's required. They drive execution agility. It is about the speed, but not about adapting. And as a result, teams will end up delivering fast things that perhaps they should not be delivering. I like Peter Drucker's quote that says, there's nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which you should not be doing at all. And when we focus on speed, we run into the danger of delivering things that we should not be delivering at all. So, digital transformation, the stats are not so great. Average failure rate of digital transformation, this is from Harvard Business Review, 87.5%. And this is about building that muscle and the capacity to respond to perpetual and pervasive, powerful, exogenous technological change. This is a quote from Professor Brian Armstrong, who is the chair of digital business at Wits University. And the aim with digital transformation is really, it's not about technology outcomes. It is about customer outcomes. One of the speakers yesterday did mention that digital doesn't need to transform. It's the people that need to transform. And I think also that was behind even in the formation of the title that I now hold. It's not Chief Digital Officer. It's Chief Digital Transformation Officer. Because most of what needs to happen is that transformation. And when you're doing the transformation, and most of that transformation is transforming people and transforming the culture. You need to be able to help people shift their ways of thinking about how value is created, to be customer obsessed, to be data driven. Shift the ways of working such that they accelerate the delivery of that value. Shift the ways of leading, so for leaders to orchestrate and create an environment that will accelerate the delivery of value. We shift the ways in which we're organizing, how we organize teams. We organize teams around value, around outcomes, around value streams. And we shift how we incentivize the behavior so that it is more, what we want is more outcomes driven approach rather than output and deliverables. The speaker yesterday who was talking about being and doing, if we don't create time for us to be, and instead we're so busy doing, then we're not going to be able to accomplish what we can accomplish. And the way that I'm proposing, as I'll go through this presentation, is that if we focus on outcomes, then that gives us an opportunity to get rid of the things that we are working on that we should not be working on them at all. So what we end up is this dual transformation. I like this drawing here. This is from the Pen Agile architecture, which is part of the open group. Digital, to have a digital enterprise, you also need to have that agility. It needs to be an agile enterprise. Therefore, we need to transform not only how we do the things that we are currently doing, improving our processes, but we need to transform what we do and how we do what we're not doing that possibly we should be doing. So that's future facing. And the goal is to really thrive in a competitive market, is to have the ability to effortlessly leverage technology and accelerate this creation of value. Value that is great quality, superior value, experiences for humans that are seamless, that are delightful. But we need to do this fast, but we need to do it safely, take into consideration privacy concerns, security, and we need to do it in a sustainable manner, cost efficiencies, and also sustainable looking at our environment. And we do this with engaged employees, customers, and partners. Because if we do that, our employees and our customers, they end up being our advocates. And in the early presentation this morning, the presenter was talking about how you need to be involving your ecosystems, your partners in this process. So I'm going to talk about this story, my story. I worked for Motorola. I was in Chicago for almost 20 years. The picture on the left, this is my left, and that's your, okay, Beckham. That's the official, that's the official marketing for Razor that Motorola was using. And then, because they wanted the employees to, to have fun and be involved in all the success that Motorola was enjoying, so we competed, entered it. That was my competition entry. I didn't win. Okay, so Motorola, company that was founded in 1928, was the company that created the first mobile phone in 1973. I joined, in fact, I was recruited out of university I was teaching I joined this 3G project in 2000. So what happened was that Motorola wanted to leapfrog Nokia with 3G phones because Motorola was dominating the market in the 90s. And they did not pay attention to what was going on in Europe in terms of innovation and looking at digital mobile technology, which was GSM. So they were happy with having their analog phones. 1994, Motorola is dominating the global cell market. 1998, Nokia dominates. Motorola gets a wake-up call. We need to do something. Let's leapfrog and focus on 3G, while Nokia is dominating with 2G, with GSM. And that was the birth of this 3G project that I joined. Because of the way we worked, in 18 months, we were able to deliver the first 3G phone on the market. We had teams in Japan because we were partnering with NTT Docomo. We had teams in Japan, we had teams in Chicago. Everybody was learning because the 3GPP specs were also evolving in the process. So there was that great learning environment. The leaders would come and ask, okay, what can we do for you? How can we remove any blockers? No one could be bold and say, I know what's going on. Everybody was learning. And because of that environment, and we're working in an iterative way, and testing the deliverables, so the deliverables that we were making as we're going along at the customer site in Japan, we're able to deliver the first 3G phone in 18 months. 2004, we launched Razor, not a 3G phone. Launch Razor, we get drunk with success. 2006, 130 million Razor units sold. Market share goes up. 2007, iPhone gets launched. Market share tanks. We were obsessed with the technology, but Steve Jobs and his team, the focus was on customers. The iPhone, when it launched, in terms of technology compared to Motorola 3G phones, it was not comparable. But then the iPhone was 3 devices in one. It was phone, it was an iPod, it was an internet communicator. So Motorola is in trouble. 2008, a CE for the mobile division is brought over, and he bets everything on Android. Thousands of jobs were lost. I survived because fortunately, when that was happening, I was already working on that Android platform. Thousands of engineers lost their jobs. And all the platforms that we were focusing on, they were stopped. And the bet on Android. And then in 2011, we had this activist investor who wanted I guess you may have seen the mobile division as sort of a cancer. Let's separate this. Let's get rid of it. So in 2009, Motorola, it spun off Motorola Mobility. So there was Motorola Mobility and Motorola Solutions. And then Motorola Mobility got acquired by Google in 2012 for $12.5 billion. And Google was not interested in making phones. They wanted the IP so that they could protect the Android manufacturers from iOS. What went wrong? Great innovation, great execution agility. We had team agility. Teams were self-organizing. When I joined as a software engineer. Soon I was part of the architecture team. But then because everything was so chaotic and I like structure, so I volunteered, okay, I'll do project management, create at least a project management plan so that we have an understanding of how we are working together, who's doing what, and where and when. When that project management plan was created, then we're still very immature in terms of our processes. I started working on process engineering. And then I ended up also doing build and integration. So you had developers, they're developing, but then the thing is we need to integrate this thing so that we can test it. So I ended up doing build and integration. So we had comb-shaped skill set. As a software engineer, you could do anything within the software development lifecycle. So when I came to South Africa in 2013, I was really confused because there's so much specialization. You're a business analyst, you're a developer, you're a tester. I wasn't used to that. And I think that is what helped us with this execution agility, is that we had fluidity of skill set. Technical agility, we were doing continuous testing and deployment before DevOps was even coined in 2009. We were organized around products and platforms. We're talking about organizing around value, around products. We were organized around products and platforms. We were building platforms, and for the products we needed to ship, then we'll do feature toggles so that we can turn off what we didn't need, but everything was in the same code base for a specific platform. Servant leadership was there. We had an enabling culture. You work from anywhere, anytime. I had teams in India and China. So sometimes I would have a graveyard shift, start my work at 10 o'clock in the evening so that I can work with the teams in India. I would come to South Africa for vacations in December to run away from the Chicago cold winter. stay here for 3 weeks, I mean on leave for 3 weeks, but would work from here. It did not matter because everybody was very clear what it is that needed to be accomplished. We had digitized processes. We had, because we wanted to develop code and test it, but some of the testing required people to press certain keys. So we had our team in China create robotic arms so that we could do, you didn't need human intervention. We had all of this. This was great execution, but Motorola went bust because the focus was not on the customer and the mindset was not that digital first mindset. We had speed, but we lacked adaptability. And we're complacent because of market dominance. In the early 90s, then Nokia took the market. And then with Razor, we got blindsided by Apple. So technology innovation is less impactful than customer innovation, customer-focused innovation. Apple and Steve Jobs, they showed that. The teams were aligned, but organization-wide alignment and focus, it trumps team alignment. When Sanjay Jha came and said, I'm stopping everything, we're focusing on Android. There was a clear alignment organization-wide in terms of what people were working on and why they were working on that. So as you can see, I like this quote from Steve Jobs that says, if you don't cannibalize yourself, someone else will. Motorola, 1928, you have Motorola Mobility by 2011, got sold to Google to 2012, and then now it's a Lenovo company. It was sold to Lenovo in 2014. So the Motorola team was focused on outcomes, but they were just technology outcomes. So I like this representation here because in many organizations, we focus so much on the work, on the output, on the deliverables. We don't have time to breathe. So here it shows that this person, I hit my target of 50 arrows a minute. So what? And then when you're outcomes oriented, you hit an actual business goal. But then there needs to be an addition here, which is that outcome should really be focused on customer outcomes. Because otherwise, you may end up like a Motorola. So digital leaders, they balance the demands of today with demands of tomorrow. We have competing priorities, but we have limited resources. This is why how we do work, we need to be focusing on outcomes. Because when you focus on outcome, something changes. You say, this is the business outcome I want to achieve. Then you determine what are the measures of success that will tell you that you're progressing towards that outcome. Then those measures of success, they determine the work that you need to do because the work should shift the measures. And then the work that needs to be done then determines the people, skill set that is required. The way we work right now, we say, okay, here's an outcome, here's an initiative. You don't measure progress towards an outcome, you measure progress towards finishing an initiative. So outcomes and working in an iterative manner is what will enable us and free us to have time to work on the things that we're not working on, we should be working on perhaps to survive or rather thrive in the future. So I want to offer a way of bringing all this together. in terms of outcomes and what the teams actually do. As I've already mentioned, when there's an opportunity or a problem, we say, okay, we're going to use that to position ourselves. We'll work on that. And we establish a business outcome and we say these are the measures of success. Then we say, okay, here's an initiative. And this initiative now becomes, these are the requirements that you need to execute on. But what we forget is that business success is a result of customer success. So we need to shift how we approach work with outcomes. Be clear what the outcomes are and what the measures of success. And the measures of success must not only be your lagging indicators. You must have leading indicators, because it's the leading indicators that are going to help you determine whether you need to be stopping what you're doing because it's not shifting the measures, or you pivot. So you have your business outcomes, you have your measures of success. Then what you need to be asking is, who is going to help me achieve this business outcome? Customers. What do I need these people to do? What actions do I need them to take? Because then that becomes your indicators. But why would they take these actions? What is the ambition? What are they trying to achieve? What's in it for them? What are the challenges then that they are that get in the way of them achieving what they need to achieve? Because this is very important. All business is a bet on future human behavior. So leaders need to define what behavior will change, how it will change, and how will that lead to revenue. So when you've established who's going to help you achieve your business outcome, why would they help you? What is it that they're trying to achieve themselves? What challenges are they facing? What actions should they be taking? Because it's those actions that are going to be the indicator for you that actually what you're developing is going to make a difference in your bottom line. So then you determine your solution. And when you determine your solution, you leverage your technology. You bring in your technology, you bring in processes and data. How are you going to modify those? And then you also look at what your stumbling blocks are, your CRAIGs, like your constraints, your risks, assumptions, your dependencies, and how you're going to leverage technology with that. Then all of that informs your backlog that you work on and work iteratively. And you're working iterative, you keep asking, am I shifting the outcome? And the only way you'll know you're shifting the outcome if you have your leading indicators to help you answer that question. So McKinsey, in this book, Rewired, actually provides a nice way to integrate the digital transformation with agility, because they pose these, they have these three operating model designs. So product and platform, I've used that in my previous life, and that was very, very successful. But then it was not just product and platform where you are just focused on business and on the product development teams, but also focus on teams like functions, because we had compliance teams, risk and audit teams that were also working in an agile way. But for these, you really need key business engagement, and you need sponsorship from business. It's not going to be possible without that. So to wrap up, there's lots of stuff in the slide, but I just want to focus you on the right-hand side with strategic agility. You've heard about that yesterday. That's very important. So innovating and focusing on technology and speed, that's not enough. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be customer focused. and you need to be constantly hyper aware of what's going on around you so that you can do that, you can adapt. And then alignment, organization-wide alignment. That's very important, because if you're just aligning your teams, then you're not having sight of what is going to be much more impactful. And for organization alignment, I'm sure some of you know OKRs. You can use OKRs here. But I like when I talk about OKRs and not, I don't call it objectives and key results, because some people, they take an objective and it's a deliverable. I say it's an outcome and key results. Because with an outcome, then you're not focusing, you're focusing on something that is going to create a change. And an outcome is a consequence of the deliverables that you work on. And when you put those key results, they need to show a direction in terms of, are you improving, reducing, or what are you doing? If you're saying my key result is completing this document, that's not a key result. So focus, that fast execution and focus is very important. And there, practically, how you can apply it or how you can help in driving that with measures, you use flow metrics. Because those flow metrics, they help you measure how the work flows through the systems. The OKRs, they help you measure the value of what you're doing. Thank you.